Okay, yeah, they can see you now. Okay, let me see. Okay, everyone can see the screen. All right, it's actually 2 p.m. So very good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another webinar. So we just share the screen, and then also we are speaking right now, talking right now. If any one of you online who cannot see the screen or cannot hear us, you try to reconnect to the platform, okay? All right, let me double check on my end. It looks fine. The audio is working here. So, all right, we're going to start right now already. So, good afternoon, warm welcome again. My name is Shin Lang, and then today over here in this room, I have Terrence, our account manager from Amazon Global Selling Team, who will be sharing with us the topic on Be Your Brand, as well as we are very honored to have invited Adela, our founder and director from Brew, to join us. We'll be sharing about what are the services that Brew can offer to help you scale your online business. All right, so moving on to the next slides. Before I pass in to Terrence, let me just go through some admin stuff here. Okay, let me close this first. All right, okay, so basically Seller Education Team is a team I'm in. So we provide some of these free education and training through a variety of learning programs. So one of it is actually Seller University, where you can access it through the Seller Central. You can have access to the platform and then go under the Learn navigation, and you can access the Seller Central. All right, the other one is the one that you are watching right now, which is the live webinar, where we have trainings and sometimes webinar like this across a few times in a week. All right, so this is what you are watching right now. Now moving on. Oops, sorry. So moving on, just want to give a quick introduction. Also welcome Adela again. So she's founder and director from Brew, and Brew is a performance marketing agency. So Brew have been in service since 2019 and have served a couple of global clients of varying industries over the years. And Brew provides services, specialized services such as tailored paid media solutions, social media management, and other creative services to all their clients to actually help drive their business goals at scale. So since last year, they've been actively helping their e-commerce client who currently run or rather form the core portfolio of the company. So later, Adela will be sharing with us on what makes marketing effective and what's a typical consumer journey and how does it actually translate to the marketing efforts, and also how Amazon ads can support your growth in this area. All right. So the recording you're watching, or rather here, the webinar you're attending right now will be recorded, so you can find in our official YouTube playlist after the webinar has ended. So any question you have, please put at the right-hand side. All right, on the question box you can see. So as always, information is accurate as of now. So if always refers to online resources such as Seller University or Seller Central help for the most updated information, or you can find the most latest video as well. All right, some important notice, take a quick read on this.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes,
okay.
We can.
Okay, that's good. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for taking the time out to be here today. Very excited also to be sharing on performance marketing. A lot of the times on my side also, I don't really get a lot of time to babble about it. So happy to be here. Again, my name is Adela, and I'm the director and founder of Brew. So today we will be just talking about how to utilize paid media as a tool to scale e-commerce businesses. So a little bit more about us here. Brew is a performance marketing agency that established ourselves about 4 years ago in 2019. So almost a COVID baby, so to speak. So we work with brands globally as well as locally, and particularly for e-commerce clients, we work with them with the intention of scaling their revenue. So when it comes to our philosophy in marketing, it has always been to set strong foundations for our clients, because end of the day, we are not just looking at sales. We are looking at sustained and scalable sales, which is what matters, right? So breaking it down a little bit. So breaking it down a little bit more here. Essentially, we help businesses strategize and manage end-to-end paid ad solutions. So some examples of what paid ads are or how they look like is shown on the left here. Now, capabilities include media strategizing and buying. Basically, we plan campaigns based on your budgets, objectives, and so on to drive your goals at the highest cost efficacies. Oh, there was a pause. Can you see now? Oh, good. Okay. So then we also do content generation as well, where that includes things like creative and copywriting, so you don't have to worry about that. After your campaigns are live, typically we will have a lot of data and numbers on hand. We give you visibility on what those numbers mean to you and give you data back recommendations so you can make certain decisions with confidence. So for our e-commerce clients, we then also help to integrate their e-commerce stores and marketplaces to not just give you full visibility on performance, we also want to extend the support of paid media to drive sales on those platforms as well. Okay, so these are just some of the clients we have worked with over the years. So both local and global space, e-commerce, as well as non-e-commerce brands as well. Okay, jumping into the topic of the day, if there's any one message that I want everyone to take away from this session, is that an effective marketing strategy boils down to delivering the right message to the right people and at the right time. So I think just think about all the times where you received an ad that is completely irrelevant to you. And from now on, just know that when you see that, a brand out there is ineffectively spending their marketing dollars. And as much as possible, we do want to reduce that for our clients. Okay, so goals. Majority of our clients are we are looking at sales at the end of the day. I don't think anyone here is not looking at to drive sales, correct? I'm sure everyone is. So the problem here is that for many brand owners, right, sometimes we forget that this process means very different things to our consumers and us. So if you were to translate this process into what it means for our consumers, this is effectively what it will look like. So the typical consumer journey is a multi-step process. We have people who are in the awareness stage who may have not heard of your brand or product before. We have people in the consideration stage where they may be aware that they have an issue to solve, but not quite there yet to understand what the market has to offer. We have people in the sales stage who might be ready to buy, but may be directly comparing between you and your direct competitors. Okay, beyond that, we are looking at retention, right, repurchases, and of course, advocacy, whether or not they are deciding whether or not they want to share that information or product to their friends. So this is what the consumer journey will look like for majority of e-commerce brands. So then, still got a lot of empty space. So translating this into marketing then, our efforts need to align with the consumer journey to, again, be able to meet your consumers with the right message at the right time. So then this is what it will look like. Okay, so this is a very concise view of it, and I'm not going to dive into everything here, but I also want to share a few examples here. Okay, so for example, if you're looking at KOLs or influencers, right, it's perfect for brand awareness and brand education, but generally speaking, if you're going to benchmark that performance against conversions, for example, you'll find it not to be very effective. And if you're looking at, say, email marketing or email automations, right, generally speaking, perfect for consideration through to sales as well as repurchases. But if you're going to utilize email marketing to reach out to new audiences, it's going to prove a challenge. And of course, like what Terence has shared earlier as well, branding then determines what are you communicating through these channels that we have to your consumers. And I think that that is very important, and it will tie everything together to drive higher efficacies as well. Okay, so where does paid media then lie in all of this? As you can see here, paid media does offer capabilities across the funnel to reach, engage, and convert users as well. So I'm able to say that, oh, I want to get my campaign to optimize towards reaching as many people as possible, getting as much traffic as possible, or even conversion or repurchases. We are also able to identify audiences at each step to be able to reach out to them with specific messaging. I'll share a little bit more in a short while as well. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper and show you just how an effective full funnel media planning would look like, particularly in this case when you leverage Amazon ads. Okay, say you have your storefront set up and ready to sell, right? How then do you actually get those sales? Through paid media. Okay, first and foremost, we want to expose your brand exposure both on and off Amazon. So looking at off Amazon, we have things like Twitch ads, streaming ads, Amazon DSP, and sponsored display. And all of this does a fantastic job at putting your brand out there. And not forgetting within Amazon itself, you're also able to show up through sponsored brand, sponsored displays, sponsored product placements within the site. And you can do so, and you can also increase your exposure beyond those that are already searching for your brands by selecting broader audience sets. I think Terence also shared briefly about how you're going to identify what your users are searching for at any point in time, right? So with these two things in place, you should be getting an influx of traffic to your store, and a small percentage of them will eventually buy. But how then do we funnel and meet and reach those individuals that did not buy, right? With Amazon ads, we are then able to identify those who visited your store or took certain actions such as added to cart, re-engage them again through Amazon ads, and drive them back to the page to complete the purchase. So this is within the capabilities, right? And to drive sales again, we can also leverage this same placement to target in-market audiences with specific long-tail keywords that your ready-to-buy consumers are already searching for. Okay, so then what happens after consumers have already made their first purchase, right? It doesn't just end there. We are also able to retarget users who have made a purchase in the past and re-engage them again to drive repurchases, whether or not it's through the means of upselling, cross-selling, or restocking of certain products that were purchased. Okay, so it looks and sounds complicated, but a full funnel media planning is effectively a very logical process, and all it takes is an understanding of where your consumers where your consumers are in their journey, and derive a plan to meet them where they are. Okay. I'll also go into some of the benefits of paid media as well. Okay, so first up, I want to talk about paid media as a means of driving your goals at large volumes, right? First up, we have this client who spent a total of 1.6K driving impressions and reach. Within this course, we served the ad over 1 million times and to over 300,000 individuals. Okay, effectively, for every $1.58 spent, we served the ad 1,000 times, right? Another example here. For this campaign, we spent a total of about 2,400. We were able to gather 6,600 link clicks, and that's effectively about 39 cents per click to your website. So again, very affordable. But the takeaway here isn't just that paid media is cheap. It can be very cost effective if you utilize it with the right strategy. But more than that, all the numbers that you see here were achieved within a span of 2 weeks. So, and these numbers are generally quite hard to achieve through other means of marketing, and generally would take a slightly longer time to achieve as well. So this is one of the main benefits of paid. Okay, next, I also want to talk about paid media as a means of gaining insights and meeting your consumers in their journey, right? Especially if you're a new brand or business that is offering new product lines. Sometimes we are very limited by the data we have on our consumers, which also means to say that it is difficult for us to gauge and visualize how our consumers are moving through the consumer journey that we mentioned earlier, right? I'm going to break it down a little bit more here. Here we have Google Analytics numbers from one of our clients, and it shows users' behavior from the time they entered the site all the way down to when they make a transaction. So as you can see here, for everyone that visits the website, right, only about 50% made it to the product page. Out of these 50% that did, only 7% added to cart. So then with these sufficient volumes coming in, right, the client is then able to visualize and identify where the gaps are at and investigate to improve the overall efficacies on the website. So in this case, we could ask the question of, oh, what's the reason that this 93% drop off happened? Is it a reason of poor navigations, for example? Is it a problem where buttons are simply not working for specific audiences or desktop users, for example? And all these could be possible reasons for why results are not great. Okay, so I also want to circle back to an earlier conversation on user journey as well. So through paid media, we are also equipped with capabilities to identify and reach people who have landed on your site or storefront but didn't take specific action. So we explored that a few times earlier on with retargeting. We are able to identify this group and craft very specific message to then get them to take the next step in the funnel, right? And I want to highlight here that retargeted traffic is a good 70% more likely to purchase than we are targeting broad audiences. So it's a very powerful tool that is available to paid media. Okay, so just want to put everything together here, right, on how paid media can help brands scale. So for this particular client, before they engage us, we will consistently bring in about 25,000 monthly revenue. But within the first month of engagement, we were able to see a 2x increase in the revenue generated, again, because paid brings volumes, right? Over the next few months, we gather insights into the business's consumer behaviors, identified where the major gaps are and getting the client to help fix it, experimented different media strategies. And these 2 months that you see here, that was with a dip, it was a result of seasonality, which I will explore a bit later as well. And so by the end of the 5th month mark, we then collated all these findings, revamped a strategy, scale up the media spends, and that resulted in a 5x increase in revenue from before the time we were engaged by the 6-month mark. So this is how we want to witness growth for businesses who engage us or run paid ads, right? So here I also want to share some case studies and some unique scenarios for some of our clients, because oftentimes, as much as we help our clients, we also get a lot of learnings from the engagements as well. So I just want to share some of that with you guys. Okay, so first up, we have Speckled Space. And Speckled Space is a local home furnishing brand that offers a huge range of home decor and home furnishing products. And here I want to explore the topic of seasonality. So throughout our engagement with them, right, we noted that there were several high revenue seasons, namely for them, Hari Raya and Christmas. We noted that when pushing for bigger ticket items, and Terence mentioned this earlier as well, where conversions tend to happen offline rather than online, right? Because people want to have a look and feel of the product. You're not going to just throw out a few $1,000s worth of money just because I saw something online. And so that user behavior becomes very different for this group. There were also differences in products sold during each seasons, which should be obvious to many of you as well if you're just going to look back at the trends, right? And that for this particular client, certain media channels drove very, very consistently better results. So applying all of that into insights, right, and restructuring how our campaigns are done, at the end of it, we were able to secure 8.24 ROI for the client for our bottom of funnel campaigns, which is way above average for this industry. Okay, another topic I also want to explore is marketing for niche markets as well. So in this case, our client's Wines Online is a seller of fine wines, right? The campaign looks very simple, but it's a lot more challenging than it looks, because we identified a lot of high competition from mass market wine sellers. So we have your Wines Connection, Cold Storage, and so on. But the actual market for those who appreciate fine wines, right, is actually very, very niche. We also found that messaging for product education does a lot better than promotion-driven content, which is very rare. A lot of the times when it comes to e-commerce, the more promotion is, the better, especially in Singapore, right? But in this case, we didn't see that at all. It was the complete opposite consistently, right? And messaging, and there were certain stark differences in media channel performance as well. So for them, shopping campaigns don't do very well. So I have a few examples here. If you can see my mouse, these are examples of shopping campaigns that did very poorly. Reason, because there was very limited product description that was available. What your consumers effectively see is your product and then $399. So quite obviously, the campaigns will not do well. So taking all of that learnings together, and in our next campaign, plan out a campaign that play to their strengths, right? We manage an ROI of 3.26 for the client. Okay, so I think that's all I have to share today. I hope you find the session helpful in your e-commerce journey, and feel free to reach out to us with the contact information listed here. I will answer your questions later in the Q&A, but for now, I'm going to pass the time back to Jin Liang and Terence, and I'll stick around for the Q&A. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Adela. Thank you for sharing. I think we learned a lot from your sharing earlier on. Thank you so much. Let me just switch back to my screen. Now, let me know if you all can see my screen, huh?
Yep, all good.
All right, cool. So yeah, so thanks for sharing those details. I will still share those QR code at the end of it. So right now you see is the contact details, so don't worry if you all cannot see the number later on. I will flash it later on before we end the session as well. All right, moving on. All right, so here's the Q&A section. So we do receive a couple of questions during the registration form process when the attendees sign up. So we'll address those questions first. Now, if you just sign up maybe like a few hours earlier on, I may have missed those questions because I extracted it in the morning. So if that's the case, you might want to put it into the question box so we can address it live as well. All right, so we'll go through the question that was first shared during the sign up now. Now, before that, do check out these useful marketing tools and advanced brand marketing tools guide that is developed by Seller University. So over here, it talks about the Amazon tools that we have regarding what was shared earlier on by Terence as well. The brand growth tools, like how you can use sponsored brands, sponsored displays, which is something that also mentioned by Adela just now during her sharing session. All right, so do scan this and get the PDF. I believe that you can actually read it on the go. Now moving on to the exciting part. All right, so these are a few questions that we get, or rather all the questions we get. So we'll address it one by one together. Okay, the first one, any fees involved? Okay, so I think because probably this attendee put it in this question probably doesn't know the content yet, so make perfect sense. It's very wide. So if we are talking about Amazon features just now that we shared, right? I believe actually 99% has no fees, except that if you want to use Amazon ads, of course you gotta it's a pay-per-click kind of basis, and then there are some other tools like transparency, all this brand protection stuff may not be applicable to Southeast Asian seller yet, so those have slightly a little bit fees, but in general 99% of those brand building tools where you can unlock once you enroll in brand registry is actually free to use.
Yeah, maybe I can add on to that. So exactly right. So all brand registry tools, most of them are free. The cost actually comes from being eligible to be on the brand registry, which means that you do need to be a brand owner. And what does a brand owner mean? It means specifically you must own, a form of trademark, right? Maybe it's from USPTO if it's a US trademark, maybe it's from IPOF if it's a Singapore trademark. But the cost of attaining the trademark, which is not paid to us, is paid to the the regulatory body of whichever country that you're applying to. That's where the cost actually goes to. I would say it's relatively affordable. Like let's say Singapore IPOS one classification, it can cost $200-300, right? If you self-apply. If you go through an attorney, probably more. But I think depending on your situation, you can choose an attorney or not. But it will be in a relatively affordable range, and it's more for a long-term view as well. Please don't just get the trademark for the purpose of brand registry. It's really for your business, right? A lot of business owners, they think long-term, right? It's about building the brand equity. It's about the protection. It's about future-proofing, your exit plans next time. You put so much effort, using the strategies from Adala, paid media. You invest so much in building up the brand. Next time, if you want to exit, you do need a trademark if you want to sell off your brand, right? So actually you do need to pay, but it goes into a lot more benefit into that. And I think it ties down to the second question that I'm looking at. Do I need a professional account to use the tools? So to be eligible for brand registry, yes, you do need to be a professional seller. To be a professional seller, there is a subscription plan of $40 USD per month if it's the US market, right? So that's in terms of the overarching fee. But yeah, if you're talking about brand registry, brand tools in specific, it's free, apart from the ads that Shin Liang mentioned. Yeah. So, but once again, if you are also asking about from Adela's side, right, it's talking about paid media, and this is something I strongly advocate. At the end of the day, you know, you do need a mixture, right? Paid, non-paid, on Amazon, off Amazon. You do need everything to sort of gel together if you are looking at a proper, you know, marketing branding funnel, and both of them, you know, it's not negotiable. It's, if you really are thinking about long-term business strategy, you need both, and paid media is definitely one of them, because to build a business, I mean, yes, you can rely on Amazon's, you know, organic e-commerce traffic, right? And we have a very steady flow of customers, but actually, depending on product, there's also a lot of other customers off the platform, but can be fulfilled by Amazon's fulfillment services. So you do need a mixture of both if you really want to go to the next level. Yeah. I think we have another question, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Okay, so yeah, maybe to summarize, the tools itself, you know, to use it is there's no fee. But then again, to before even you even get to use the tools, there are things like what Terence mentioned. The professional account itself is a monthly fee of about you know, about $40 USD, but to be exact, is 39.99 USD. Then again, since we are on this topic, there's a promotion going on. So from now until I think it will end in next
March,
year,
April,
March-ish, yeah, period. So when you go to our website now, sell.amazon.sg, sell internationally, you can see the ongoing promotion, which is you just need to pay for $1 USD, and then you get to use the professional selling account for 6 months. All right, so there's a lot of, you know, savings. So for those of you, which I see, you know, most of the people sign up today probably are very new or have not even signed up, wanting to explore. So it's a good time to go and sign up for these promotional, you know, offers that we have. Just $1 USD, and you can get to use the account for 6 months. All right, before you get to pay the full fees of 39.99 USD. Okay, so the next question, I mean, before that, any things that Adela want to add on regarding the 2 points we talked about earlier on?
No, all good, all good. Yeah, probably on the topic of branding, some perspectives there.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So next one, I think not very relevant to the topic we are discussing, which is about what are accredited shipping agency to use, rates, etc. I think for these, we can probably share that there is this, what we call this service provider network. If you have access to the Seller Central already, you just search for SPN. All right, there's a list of provider depending on what you're looking for. You know, especially for things like logistics, shipping, etc. You can reach out to them individually to get their quote or to understand what services they provide. Alternatively, if you have a account manager, you know, you can actually reach out. They might have some recommendation or something they have for you in terms of what are the agency that you can use. So yeah, just know that we have service provider network that you can use to source this kind of services.
Yeah, so definitely use the service provider network. I mean, unfortunately, e-commerce is so wide, right? Different products, different shipping strategies. That's a conversation for another time, right? But I would say in general, just got to make sure that, you know, at least these people, first of all, they can ship into the overseas market that you're looking for. You know, they are competitive in terms of pricing. But more importantly, I think if you're talking about Amazon in particular, making sure that they're aware of the FBA process, I think that is key, because logistics provider, they do need to, you know, book an appointment to tell Amazon to say, hey, I'm sending in my goods next Friday 2 p.m. right? They need to know how to log these appointments. So making sure that they are aware of the FBA processes, making sure that they are, you know, at least have some track record of, you know, being able to ship overseas successfully. That's one. You don't have to use ours, use your own, but because at the end, it's all about pricing also, right? Making sure that it's competitive for the size, and then or in terms of the volume of a product, right? Whether it's bulky, whether it's fragile, you know, all has different strategies. So you need to be very clear on it. And the last thing that you should be aware of is things like your IOR in terms of your regulations. Can they help you clear customs, go through the regulatory bodies? That is extremely key. If not, your items will be stuck at the port. So this is usually handled by the logistics provider. And also be aware of things like your import-export taxes, right? They need to sort of handle it for you. Whoever you use, service provider or not, or source your own, make sure you cover these sort of aspects, because it's key in making sure that your product reach our fulfillment centers safely.
All right, thank you. So I think the last question over here is, how important is branding? So very important question. Maybe let Adela to share with us regarding this area. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Terence shared quite a lot of good points where I think, of course, it's important, and because it reflects so much about what your brand is communicating across channel, whether or not it's just paid, whether or not it's organic, and all that. And I think I just want to put into the perspective of paid media as well lah. So typically speaking, when we see clients with good branding, right, we see an improvement in cost per acquisition as well. Because when you have a good brand equity, the cost of acquisition and convergence tends to be a lot lower, and that's why for new brands entering the market, the paid media costing tends to be a slight bit higher, because you have not yet built the brand equity yet. So I think yes, especially when it comes to paid, branding does play a role, and you will be able to see it in the cost of your campaigns. Yeah.
And also, I like to be relevant in sharing. So first of all, thanks Adela for sharing that. Something just came across my mind. I read the Straits Times article this morning. I'm not sure, Adela, whether you read it as well. Basically, it says that it was this article by ESG, sharing a lot of local brands. They want to break into US market, but they are struggling to do so. And long story short, it was a long article, but the gist of it was that they specifically call out that even though local brands in Asia, they are so good, right? They are quality product. Product-wise, it's solid, but it always fails in US. And the reason why it's because they fail to have a brand story, right? So this is something that I realized, right? I mean, product is important. I mean, please send us good products so that we can help you ship them to the customers. But yes, product is important, but whether or not it's a good product, bad product, actually the branding can totally turn the game around, right? You can sell that same tea powder, but imagine one tea powder, you just say tea powder A, it's cheap, it's healthy, antioxidants, give you 590. But I go to another powder and says like, hey, there's a very great story behind this. It's sourced all the way from the mountains in I don't know which country, hand sourced by our farmers, hand picked, hand selected. You build that storyline, that branding behind your product, and suddenly for that same product, you could potentially sell $20. So it's not just about telling a story. It's not just about the product, right? But a good branding really helps you to go beyond. And that same $10 product can be 20. That $20 product can be 30. So it will really make a difference. And Amazon understands this. We also notice this in the data of successful sellers versus normal sellers, right? At the end of the day, branding is a huge part of the equation. So, please, at the end of today's session, have a think about branding strategy. Reach out to Adela, for paid media. Reach out to me, to Jun Liang, to any of your account managers on how you can strategize in terms of branding for Amazon, or e-commerce specific. We're all very happy to help. So yeah, extremely important. It's time to get started.
Yeah, I think also an easier way to look at it for those, right, is to take a step away from the perspective of a brand owner and just think about how you're interacting with your favorite brands, right? There's a reason competitors and so on, and the reason behind it is oftentimes branding. Yeah, so maybe in that perspective, it's also easier to understand how important branding is.
Thank you, Attila and Terence, for sharing. Right, before we end, also want everyone to remember, do not forget the basics. You've got to also optimize your listing, ensure that your image is good, showcasing your product. So again, branding alone may not work. You also need to take care of your listing, make sure that it's showing all your the right description, etc., the bullet points, the basics has to be there, and then of course you work on your branding, etc. Cool. Okay, we're gonna move on now. Let's see. I think I already see some question in the question box already. So before that, I just want to share we do have some more upcoming webinar in December before we end the year. All right, do sign up if you have not signed up yet, and then make sure you join our seller community Facebook page, etc. if you have not as well. All right. Okay, now we're gonna look at the question that we received live. Okay, so meanwhile, just remember these are the QR codes you can actually scan to follow Brew on LinkedIn, or you can go to the website to check out some other information regarding the services that I shared earlier on. And also there's contact details that you can reach out to if you need someone to speak to regarding your business. Okay, let me take a look at the question. All right, okay, I'm gonna type here so that we can see the question. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna read out so that those who watch the recording can see. So first question we got is, I just started selling. What's the I think amount should I start to spend on paid media? Right, maybe we can perhaps have Adela to help address this.
Yeah, I think this question is a bit chicken and egg lah, honestly, because I also think that there is no magic answer per se to how much you can spend. Effectively, yes, paid media itself can start from very low sum, from $100 and upwards. You are able to start serving ads. That is not of issue. The question is not how much you should spend, is how much you should start spending to see efficacies. Yeah, I think that is that's that. And with regards to that, right, it then depends on also the products that you are looking at. So if let's say you are selling diamonds, for example, your cost required to actually make that purchase, to actually draw in that purchase, will be very different from if you are selling FMCG products. Yeah, so there is no magic answer per se, but if you want to explore that topic, you can reach out to me and we explore based on where your brand is currently at and where what products are you currently selling. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks for sharing. Are there any things you want to add on this question, Terence?
All good from my side. This is on paid media. Yeah, I would say just wanted to plus one to add the last point, right? It's about the efficacy. So if I were to tie it back into Amazon side of things, yes, do your spending on paid media, but make sure you have the right tools. Let's say like URLs, right, to track your efficacy for all these paid media that you're doing. If you're a brand owner, since you're on the topic on branding, right, there are such things like brand referral bonuses. You can have special links, so that you can link to your paid media, whichever it is, and then you can sort of track whether it's working or not. Yeah, so this is something that you can explore. There are some credits you can get out of it as well. So definitely something that you want to look at. But yeah, I mean, if can spend more. Yeah, it's a pay to play, like if we are going to be upfront, right, for the US markets. Different markets we can have different strategies. Yeah.
Got it. All right, thank you. So the next question we have here is, all right, my question is off topic today. I hope you don't mind. All right, I'm gonna just put it here so everybody can see the question. All right, so the question is from Amazon.com. We can sell cross-border from the USA to other country. Can we do likewise for Amazon SG from Singapore to USA, Europe? Actually, the answer is no. Yeah.
Cross-border.
Meaning that, okay, maybe we need more context. Do you mean you're going to send your inventory to the Singapore fulfillment center and that have it shipped to other country? So if that's the that's the context you have in mind. From my understanding here, it's no.
Yes, correct.
Unless you have any other options.
Yeah. So Junai is absolutely correct. So if you are already on Amazon.sg, it's a bit tricky, right? You cannot use that same inventory, same listing. At the end of the day, Amazon.sg is a separate marketplace from Amazon.com, which is like US, or any countries per se, right? So if you want to sell into other countries like USA, Europe, you can use the same Amazon.sg account, but you must open a new US marketplace or Europe marketplace to go and sell a product, preferably with a net new listing. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question. So yes, you can sell, but no, you cannot sell using like if you're just in Amazon SG. Yeah.
Okay, hope that addressed the question. If you have more context or follow-up, feel free to let us know. Okay, the next question we have is sent to all. Okay, the next question is, do you support smaller seller as your client scenes bigger? I think this question might be relevant for Adela.
Yeah, of course. We don't just support bigger organizations, but also, in fact, majority of our clients are local SMEs as well. Whether or not they are looking at selling to global space or local space, that makes up quite the bulk of our portfolio as well, lah. So we do support smaller businesses on tight budgets. Again, a lot of the media planning comes down to understanding where your brand is currently at and the budgets that you have on hand. And every single media planning is customized to where you are. There is no set basis for when it's a small business, so there is no benefit in paid for you. There isn't that benchmark lah. So yeah, it's possible.
Got it. Okay, so let's wait for maybe a few minutes to see if there's more questions. Typing now halfway, just please press enter first so we know you are typing something. Okay. Okay, while we are waiting, maybe I can ask Adela a short question. I'm just curious, all right? So just now you mentioned that our attendees can actually reach out to you for a call to understand where they are in terms of their branding strategy, etc. So I'm curious, as I see most of them might be based on a profile, just starting up or even planning to start selling. If having for the newer seller having a call with you, would there be any cost, just to talk with you, this kind of thing?
No, of course not. Happy to help and bridge that first conversation of where brands are at lah. Because at the end of the day, what we are doing here is we want to provide value to our clients as well, and not charge on conversations that need to happen before engaging us lah. So feel free to just open up a conversation. But since we are still here, and I do think that a lot of us are brand new sellers, right? Then maybe I can also share a bit of insights on how that process actually goes for brand new brands, right? Where if you are looking at full funnel brands, and if your brands are not out there on the market and a lot of people are not aware of your brand yet, a lot of times how we plan our media is to focus a lot on awareness campaigns to drive that brand exposure and visibility, because without that, there is no it's very hard to funnel your users down to purchase, and the available in-market audience for you is very, very small and not sustainable in the long run. So just a bit of insights to how that is being done for new sellers. Hope that is helpful.
Right. Thank you, Adela. I think we are almost time. So before we end the session today, right, maybe I would like to ask Terence and Adela, maybe Adela, you can answer further. Any last word or advice you will give to our attendees here?
I think sometimes it does help to take one step back and look at the overall picture of where your brand is currently at and where the gaps are, and not dive into and focus too much on each individual functions of marketing. And even now, as a paid media agency coming out and say, oh, you should get paid and all that, right? And forget about everything else that goes into marketing. Let's not do that. Let's take a step back and look at the whole funnel that we have shared previously. And look at where your current gaps at and prioritize how to fix those things. I think that is very important. Yeah.
All right, thank you. What about you, Terence, any last final words for our attendees?
No, sadly no inspirational last words. But I think just wanted to maybe use this time to just say thank you to each and every one of you for coming again. So my only last word is get started on Amazon brand registry, because literally, everything you need to do is there. And you need to sort of work together with Adela for the paid side, right? But on Amazon side, really everything is on brand registry. So, hopefully it will be helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Terence. So speaking of that, right, we do went through a brand registry enrollment guide in one of our webinars, so do check out in the playlist. All right, so thank you, Adila, and thank you, Terence, once again. Really, happy to have both of you here to share with us more about branding. So we will see all of you in the next Amazon Live webinar. To remember to sign up. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
thanks
guys.
everyone. Thanks, Gina and Terence.
Thank you, Adila. Have a great day.
Thank you.